Internet, hello you lovelies. We are trying out a different format today. If you've seen my last couple lives, the technology has been thwarting me and it has been vertical, even though I've set it to horizontal. So here we are horizontally on my brand new laptop. Hello, Internet. Hopefully this works out. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Let me know if you can see me. I think this is going to be a lot more easily achieved when I'm traveling. So I think live streams might just be like this for a little while, always trying to evolve and bring it as succinctly as possible. Today on This Week in Comics, we're going to be talking about my favorite comics from last week, as we always do, the comics from the week of February 5th, as well as previewing this week's books from the week of February 12th. Also going to be diving into the news of the week, including that giant Super Bowl trailer for Thunderbolts. Very excited to dive into Thunderbolts. Hopefully that appeased people enough, and I hope they don't give us too much more beyond that, because I think it looks incredible. So we're going to talk all about that Thunderbolts trailer. Also going to talk about the Doomsday film, Avengers Doomsday, kicking off in March with some filming, as well as Lanterns filming perhaps now, and lots of goodness from Colman Domingo with a big ol' interview. So all of that to come. It looks like the chat is moving. It looks like this was effective. So I think this is the new way to do the show. And the picture looks pretty good. And as long as you guys can hear me, we are good to go doing this live a little more streamlined instead of the chaotic of the vertical. All right, let's talk all about Thunderbolts. That Thunderbolts Super Bowl trailer was so effortlessly cool that I do think a lot of people are putting that up near the top of their Marvel most anticipated list. We are a mere 3 days out from Captain America 4. I am lucky enough to be seeing it tomorrow, but the embargo doesn't drop until 9 p.m. tonight, and press screenings aren't until the day before release. So I'm a little worried about that as far as the release experience. A lot of times they hold embargoes to right before a release because of spoilers and Easter eggs and stuff like they did Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping the embargo is late for that reason, not for the reason it's often late for other movies like non-franchise films. Usually when an embargo is that late, it doesn't bode well for the quality of the film. I'm hoping in this case it's for Easter eggs and all of that jazz. That said, it does feel like even a couple days out from Cap, there's a lot more buzz for Thunderbolts. And I think a lot of that is coming from the effortlessness of the trailers. All three of the trailers we've seen so far are immaculately scored. They have such a sense of tone, a specificity. They had footage come out like a year ago at either D23 or Comic-Con, I don't remember which, and even that footage was incredible. And then the Toadies trailer that came out, that first full trailer, and now this wonderfully 90s alt-rock trailer is so just effortlessly cool. Now, it is from the team behind Beef and the Bear, so it makes a lot of sense you'd have something this, like, you know, universally badass and effortless. But I think what's really surprising people is Sentry. Now, Sentry is a character that, honestly, I'm hoping I get more out of in film than I do in comics. I'm one of the only people I know that is a comic book fan that is not infatuated with Sentry. He's a character that has not gripped me as much as it has other people, but the imagery in this trailer already has me intrigued that maybe this will be the thing that gets me on Team Sentry. I think a lot of people really like this character, and I'm excited to see a take that pulls me in. I think Lewis Pullman is a great choice to do that. I'm really excited to see his take, because the imagery there with the, like, when a nuclear bomb goes off, there's this awful thing called like a nuclear shadow. I think that's what it's called. When the moment of impact kind of sears you, like the silhouette of your experience, your entire life is turned into this flattened image. It happened with Pompeii. It happens, I think, with like large explosions and the immediacy, and that mirroring the Sentry's attack, flattening these people out into these horrific images, is what a terrifying villainous power. And it also ties into the Void himself. So Sentry as a character is a Superman kind of archetypal character, but for every life Sentry saves, the Void wants to take one. So there's an equal and opposite reaction force with the Sentry. I'm hoping that that connects to me in a more, human way in movie form, like hopefully seeing an actor portray him. I'm like, oh, I get the Sentry hype now. But just from the trailer alone, I'm already more intrigued than I would have thought I was. I also really enjoy them calling out the direct nature of they're all a bunch of super soldiers. What are they going to do? Punch and shoot the guy? I think it's really smart to have a team of, you know, super soldiers against a Superman type character to up the stakes. I also think it's really clever to have the Contessa who bought the insanity of the Avengers Tower that's been teased for so long, being the one to say like, hey, Avengers aren't coming. I'm hoping to turn the lemonade of why haven't we had an Avengers film in phase 4 into the lemonade of, oh, it's intentional to not have Avengers, of dark Avengers into another team that could perhaps be in Doom. So overall, I think they handled that fourth wall break of what is happening with wise language that isn't too cheeky and fourth wall breaking, but also acknowledges the problems. Like, I like that there isn't a superpower member of the team that could rival Sentry, and I like that they call it out. I like that they realize we are missing Avengers film to conclude phase 4, and they're kind of raising awareness for that. If they actually form a team of Avengers in Doomsday, that would be a really cool thing to do, I think, because Avengers 1 was the team coming together to form the Avengers. Avengers Age of Ultron, they've been doing a little while. Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, obviously already formed teams. Everything ended at Endgame, disbanded. It'd be cool if Avengers Doomsday was them having to find a new team, and the events of Thunderbolts being a Dark Avengers kind of ragtag group they could pull from into Doomsday. I think that might be the situation. So we will see. I'm very excited. I think the trailer is absolutely delightful. I was really impressed. I did a very quick impromptu, I'm going to set up a phone and watch it. My friend Jasmine filmed me watching the trailer. I was at a Super Bowl party. I wasn't working. So it's like a short on this page. If you guys want to see me literally watching the trailer and having a couple comments, it is the last video on this page from Sunday. But I wanted to give a more nuanced take on my experience of the trailer here with you lovelies, because I did watch it a couple times. I think the imagery is delightful. I love how muted it is and how much like colors are going to pop, like the Sentry yellow suit. I love, again, the way it's calling out the reality of the situation. And I love that there's such 90s alt-rock heads over at the Beef and the Bear teams that are bringing us this. The team looks great. It looks funny. The energy and the action looks fantastic. I'm really stoked overall. As always, you lovelies, I'm going to try to get to as much of the live chat as I can, but any super chats, I promise you, I guarantee I will get each and every super chat and Streamlab in here that happens. I will not miss one. We will not end the stream until I get to all those, but in between stories, I'm going to try to get to the live chat as well. I also forgot to plug this channel at the top of the video because I was so concerned the tech wasn't working, because this is the first time streaming on this format. If you're new to this page, I cover movies, I cover TV, I cover comic books, the books themselves, each and every week on this show, but also dropping lots and lots of reviews. This week, I'm going to be dropping a review for The Gorge as soon as tomorrow. I'm going to be dropping a review for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, episodes 6, 7, and 8, as soon as tonight at 1:30 a.m. I'm also going to be reviewing non-spoiler Captain America 4, dropping Thursday morning. Captain America 4 spoiler, dropping either Friday or Saturday, and Paddington 3 on the other day that isn't Friday or Saturday. So you're literally getting 2 videos one day and 1 video each day the rest of the week. So follow this page. We're approaching 50K, and when we get to 50K, I'm going to do a 50 comic giveaway. One of you lovelies that follows me is going to get 50 comics of mine mailed to you. So that's coming at 50K. So subscribe if you're not already. Also, please like this video so I know you like this video, and comment below so that I know that you liked or didn't like that Thunderbolt trailer. I want to have a conversation about it. We just got our first super chat from Samil Battenfield. Hello, good sir. A little bit of the house fund. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I actually have begun in earnest looking at places to move. I might have to rent a house before I buy a house, because the insanity of the economy and the housing market. I've been saving for 5 years, and I was going to try to stay in this 1 bedroom until I bought a house, but I think it would be healthier to move to more space, because then I'm going to set up a full-on studio for this show and every show. Basically, I'd be moving into a place that I'd have room to have an actual YouTube studio. We could make lights. We could do the whole thing. And I was going to wait until I bought a house, but it might be a couple more years. So every one of these absolutely helps. And that brings us closer to me having a place to film that isn't my own living room. I feel so bad for my fiance. Like, she likes comics, but like, this isn't fair to her to have literally, I like living in a comic book, and she's very patient. but getting a house would allow this to be the studio and our regular house to be like both of our stuff, not just comic stuff. So thank you very much. That means the world. We've also got Mel, New York City Reviews. Good to see you, man. I feel about Green Lantern comics and movies the same way people feel about Star Wars. I'm super excited. Lanterns is going to be our third story of the day, so keep that in mind. Always good to see you, Mel, New York City Reviews. I am a huge fan of Star Wars myself, and I am very, very excited for Green Lantern. Sorry, reverse that. I'm a huge fan of Green Lantern myself. I'm a casual Star Wars fan, and I am ecstatic that the world is going to discover the glory of Green Lantern very, very soon. And again, thank you for the love on the super chat. Joshua Hugo, fist bump. Hello, Koi. It says fist bump in there for audio listeners. Hello. Also, I'm going to try to bring This Week in Comics over to podcast soon as an audio experience, because these are an hour long, and I know sometimes that's hard to sit and watch. So my friend Jasmine and I are teaming up on social media, and I think if all goes well, we're going to figure out a way to make this audio as well. So fist bump, verbally described, as it's written here by Joshua Hugo. Hello, Koi. I know the algorithm isn't kind to the vids, but will you continue your Blu-ray videos? I like seeing what you own and also throwing some recommendations in the comments. One, love the recommendations. There have been a few that I actually forgot I didn't have. It's funny, Avengers Endgame, I had in the wrong place. Like, I let someone borrow it, and I just had it wrong. I thought I had Endgame. I did have Endgame. My mom very sweetly saw that I didn't have it, got it for me for Christmas. I was able to swap it for another movie, but there are movies that are like gaps in the thing. So it's been really cool to have you guys comment like what I might be missing. So I've really enjoyed that. As far as making more, I'm probably only going to do that when I travel, because they don't do well. And the tricky thing about YouTube is if one video doesn't do well, it not only affects the next video, but it also affects the things tagged in that video. It makes it seem like the audience doesn't care about that stuff. So every time I do a movie video that doesn't do well, it affects my movie reviews. It affects all the other things. So it's kind of bad. But when I travel, I will need evergreen stuff, and I won't be going live when I'm traveling. So I am likely to do a batch of them and then have them post while I'm gone. And I'm taking a trip in March. So yes, I think in March we will get at least 3 or 4 more letters coming at you in next month, mid-month, but I want to make sure we get all this stuff. I want Cap to do well. I want to do those things first. So, all right, that is our brief. You guys co-host this show, so I got to make sure my co-host gets their input. I want to talk about those things, but I want to get back to the news as well. Let's talk Avengers Doomsday before I get to fireside reviews. Avengers Doomsday officially starts filming next month. Now, this is a news story in itself, but I also think it's really interesting that we're about to get into a melee of announcements, casting. It's going to be a deluge of content about Avengers, because we haven't had an Avengers movie in so long, except for Thunderbolts, which I do think is Dark Avengers, that we're about to have an unprecedented amount of brand new people in the Marvel Universe. They're going to announce some casting stuff. They're going to keep as much, hopefully, to the chest as they can. But this is about to be the biggest news season in MCU in quite some time. Doomsday is their big return to making these giant tentpoles that feel very intentionally like Avengers films. This is them bringing back Downey Jr. as Doom. This is going to be filming before we even see Fantastic Four. So I made this a news story because I'm curious what you guys want to see Doomsday entail. I would love, before we know anything, to have a conversation in the comments below. So I kind of wanted this to be a like before and after. I want to look back at this video's comments in a year and see what we all thought Doomsday was going to be. So my thinking is Doomsday is going to be everything goes awry in Thunderbolts. Everything goes awry in Cap 4. Everything in the Fantastic Four universe gets messed up, and they end up in our universe, which is already in a messy place. And Doomsday is literally an Avengers team having to form out of the disparate parts to go at Doom, because he's such a powerful figure. And I think they're going to give Doom a bit more power than they might have originally. I think there's going to be a lot of combining some of the Kang ideas. There might be time travel. There might be interdimensional stuff. But I think he's going to be such a big threat. The team that comes together in Doomsday can't do enough, and that leads to Secret Wars. But I do think we get some teases of the Negative Zone building into Battleworld in Fantastic Four, and that being the stage Doomsday sets, leading into a full-on Battleworld experience in Secret Wars. I'm wondering if Doomsday turns into Secret Wars being a part 1 and 2, so it's a trilogy. I'm curious how many X-Men or mutants, maybe not titled as X-Men, but mutants we get in the next 3 films. I feel like we're going to get at least a mutant in Thunderbolts. I feel like we might get a mutant, not maybe like a one that we know, but like the title is mentioned in Cap 4 because of the events of adamantium, and maybe someone has mentioned maybe mutant regulation comes into play in Cap 4. I just thought it'd be cool to have this conversation before I see it, because I'm about to see Cap tomorrow. I think adamantium means mutants. I think mutant reform starts being discussed, not like in a big way, but like undercurrent, like someone saying the word mutants for the first time. I think that Doomsday, again, is a new Avengers team coming together. I think that between now and Fantastic Four being released, we get a few major casting announcements, maybe something like a Ghost Rider, maybe something like an X-Men that we know, like an actual named one, because it seems like there's a lot of X-Men casting rumors, which is obviously for the X-Men movie that's set to come out like 2027. But I think we might be using some of those characters earlier on in Doomsday, and that casting means they might leak or that might get announced beforehand. And I think we might meet the X-Men as soon as potentially San Diego Comic-Con. I think even sooner we might get a tease at CinemaCon because they have a writer and now they're seemingly casting. All of that, I think, leading to Doomsday in a big, big way. So I'm very curious. Let me see. The chat. Mutant regulation, we already had the Sokovia Accords. They do both, Ivan Soto. I think in the comics, it's very important that legislation like kind of builds. Like there are laws that lead to other laws. I think the Sokovia Accord walked so mutant regulation could run. I think Sokovia Accord is going to come back into conversation in Cap 4. I think the Sokovia Accords being in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is kind of a big deal. So I'm really curious if that leads to anything. I about Secret Wars time runs out, Ultimates, Ultimate Doom, and plan to read Ultimate and New Avengers 2013 and Avengers Infinity. What else should I read? That's a really great start, Patrick. Patrick Modeling asking about what you should read. Bendis Avengers stuff, New Avengers and regular, Dark Avengers stuff, which is also Bendis and Diodato. I would read the 80s Secret Wars as well as the 2000s Hickman Secret Wars. Those are really where I'd start. Spidey Sensei, I don't think that Cynthia Erivo will end up as Storm just because like she's a very small human and Storm is so like statuesque. I don't know if that would translate to the character. I think she's a fantastic actress. I just don't personally see her as Storm. Maybe she will be, but I don't know if they're going that way. Long shot wish list for a cameo appearance in Secret Wars minus Hero and Baymax. Long shot wish list. Man, I feel like we're going to get everybody. What's my long shot? New characters that will be in Avengers, that will be in X-Men that I never thought we'd see, like Chamber. I'd love to see Chamber. That's my crazy reach one. All right, so that is what I'm curious about Doomsday. Those are some of my predictions. I would love to hear yours in the comments below. Let's have that conversation about those. Hitmonkey is a request. Young Avenger, I do think Young Avengers are obviously coming in some form. They've announced that is cooking, and we've seen that team start to form. Rom is a request by Juan John 138. I think Doomsday ends with the Avengers ending up in Battleworld, and they're agreed to buy a disbanded X-Men team, and that's the cliffhanger. Ian Gruffeld, Miles Teller, John Krasinski, Alex Hyde-White, and Pedro Pascal is the Council of Reeds. Hayden Center, love that. All right, so back to the Super Chats. We've got Fireside Reviews. How do I feel about Superman Returns? I'm kind of like neutral on Superman Returns. It doesn't like strike me strongly or negatively, positively or negatively. I didn't grow up with the Superman 78, and it is a sequel to those films. So I wasn't as attached to it because it was like watching a part 4 without seeing part 1 through 3. I think Brendan Routh did an exceptional job as the Kingdom Come era Superman on the CW. I think the movie has a lot of really striking imagery, but I never felt the actual chemistry too much with Routh and that beautiful actress with the 2 eye colors. The woman they cast as Lois Lane in that with the heterochromia, forget her name, Kate Bosworth. I didn't really feel that connection as much as I would have liked. I think that Kevin Spacey did a good job as Lex Luthor, but I don't remember a lot other than the kryptonite lift thing. So yeah, the movie didn't leave as much of a mark as I would have liked to have, but that's the reason I'm so excited for this year's Superman is I feel like this is the Superman for me to see as the, I believe a man can fly. I think this is going to be me attaching to a theatrical take on Superman. Cause so far my experience is Smallville is the adaptation that I've connected with most other than the comics. Obviously the comics are my Superman, but the adaptation I connect to most has been Smallville. So I am not for or against Superman Returns. I think it's a great movie from what I remember, but I didn't really feel like, that was Superman, like the comics, to me on screen. Annabelle Roman, catching up on things and input invaluable, sir. Awesome. Always a legend, never the myth. Thank you, Annabelle Roman, for the kind words. I'm glad you're catching up on stuff. I hope you're reading some comics and having a great old time with all of the above. I think that we are entering a beautiful golden era of comic books again, with DC crushing it with all their stuff I'm about to talk about, as well as Marvel kind of adjusting things and killing it with Avengers coming back and X-Men being around the corner, Fantastic Four looking great. I think both of these houses crushing it is only going to lift all boats, and not to mention Image, quietly announced a criminal series. That's exciting as hell. I think we're going to get some more independent stuff throughout, the next couple of years. I think Spider-Man Noir on Amazon is going to surprise a lot of people. We've still got Beyond the Spider-Verse in some time. It is a golden age, and I'm very, very excited about it. Eric Bana's Maestro is someone else's wish list. Seattle KO coming from Harloff's. Hope that stream went awesome. Let's see. A little worried people are getting their hopes for Doomsday, and a lot of characters people are speculating aren't going to be in it. I mean, I personally get excited for the speculation. I don't get disappointed. As soon as my butt's in that seat, like, everything I theorized is not like relevant. Personally, like, I don't, other than Multiverse of Madness, which I just didn't feel like was the story they needed to tell, all of my like Multiverse of Madness theories didn't affect my experience. The movie itself, I just felt like they could have done better things. So I think as long as you like be excited for 6 months, get rid of that as soon as you walk through the door. Like, I think it's fun to have 6 months of anticipation, or a year in this case with Doomsday. But I think if you bring that year with you into the theater, you'll inevitably be disappointed. If you can separate pre-production and production of your experience, your pre-production experience before you buy a ticket, production is the movie itself. If you can separate those things, I think it's fun to have both. And that's how I try to experience them. Best Grant Morrison comics. His new, me personally, it's between Multiversity and All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman is an all-time run. I'm a huge New Mutants fan. I mean, New X-Men fan. I really love Animal Man. I think Animal Man's my favorite Grant Morrison story ever. That is such a good comic book. Let's street level defenders also must come back like Born Again. I'm very hopeful for that in Secret Wars. Hey, Koi, saw Menace to Society watch along something. The 90s still a tough film to watch. Yeah, that movie is hard in so many ways, and it's so very good. I really, really loved that movie, but man, it is an intense one. What are my expectations for Cap 4? I think we will get a espionage story that I hope has a specific message. I hope it has something to say. I think we'll get the Hulk back in a way that people love the Hulk. I think we're going to get some Raging Hulk. I don't know if that's going to be a Red Hulk or a Green Hulk, but I think a Hulk is going to feel like, Marvel had in the first phase. I think the leader coming back means we're going to get a lot more canon tying back into the Ed Norton one. I think that's going to be really interesting. I think Anthony Mackie is in a really tricky spot because he's such a good actor and he's such a good charismatic leading man. But this movie doesn't feel like they've framed it around him. So I'm really hoping the movie itself, like, I'm hoping they held that close to the vest so we get to be like, yeah, Mackie. Because like I think he was so good in Falcon Winter Soldier, but the ads feel like they're Hulk movie ads as much as they're Cap ads. So I'm really hoping to be surprised by the 70s espionage flavor like I was with Winter Soldier. I'm hoping for great dynamic action. I'm hoping for a cool introduction to Adamantium. I'm hoping for I really hope Mackie, like, his story is so great as an actor. I'm really hoping he gets to be and put his stamp on Cap. I'm hoping that like we leave that like, yeah, Cap. That's what I mainly hope for. The Low Down Show. Thank you for the moment of silence and love. I appreciate that very, very much. All right. Next bit of news. We talked about Doomsday going into production in March. Now let's talk about Lanterns going into production. I am so excited. Supergirl's already filming. They put out a first look photo. It mirrors a frame from the comic very loosely, but it's still like that back shot. That feels like that impactful moment from the bar in Bilk's Evely penciling, but come to screen. That moment was so cool for me. I'm very excited. Supergirl's in production. Lanterns, I have been wanting to talk about for weeks, but I feel like I'm in a tricky spot because anytime I talk about DC, people are like, oh yeah, but you do DC Studio Showcase, so you're going to have to say hello to everything. I promise you, dear viewer, as part of my like contract with DC, I wanted to be an independent, like I wanted to be able to talk about other stuff. That's why I can still do the show. That's why I can still appear on other networks. I, on this, have nothing connected to that. And it's made it tricky because I've legitimately wanted to talk about Lanterns, but I'm so afraid of people being like, well, of course he's excited. But now, in this moment, I'm going to. And I'm going to say, I think it is one of the best below and above the lines crews we've seen sight unseen in a very long time. The fact that they've got Damon Lindelof, they've got Chris Mundy. So Damon Lindelof of Watchmen on HBO, of Lost, of so many incredible things, and an actual comic nerd. Chris Mundy of Ozark, which, you know, justifiably swept so many people up and like, wow, great television. Tom King, an actual comic writer involved in writing. That, right, like that's enough for me. Like no matter what, if it was a comic thing or not, this team would be like, oh my God. The fact that it's for Green Lantern, out of this world. Now you add to that Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre. Now, Kyle Chandler is so great and surprising in everything he's in. Like Friday Night Lights, everybody knows him from, but like when he pops up and stuff like Game Night, he steals the show. And then Aaron Pierre, I didn't know. But 10 minutes into Rebel Ridge, I was like, oh my God, this guy's Jon Stewart. So for me, this show going into production is just such a great moment of a zeitgeist shift about to happen. And it feels like when 2007 rolled around and they were just kind of announcing, like, you know, Robert Downey Jr., who was not in everyone's good graces at the time, like he's going to be Iron Man. Marvel casts unknowns, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, who were unknowns. They were literally like, who are those guys? As Thor and Loki. Like this feels like that moment, but on a scale where we're already off to the races. Like everything is already in the superhero culture. So now they can make bolder swings and they can do crazier stuff. So with Supergirl in production, with Green Lantern about to be, with all of the stuff about to cook, and Superman out this year, I feel like 2026 is just going to be so crazy. Because this year is the year of Superman, is the year of Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Cap 4. And that's already insane. There's 9 Marvel properties. There's Peacemaker and Superman out of the new DCU kind of, you know, Creature Commando started us off last year. This year, they're doubling one into 2 properties. And then next year, 2026, Supergirl, Lanterns. Like, it's so rad that we're like right before a chapter turn. So with that actually being real, like actually coming to cook, like actually in the kitchen, I just wanted to give some Lanterns hype. The only thing that is tricky is I want to know more so we can talk about it, but I don't want to know more because I want to experience it anew. And I think that's the only thing, like, we know too much already as things go into production. And like, there's part of me that's like, oh, this Ulrich Thompson guy, or this, I don't know the actor they cast as Sinestro, but I watched a couple clips of him and I was like, man, this dude is sinister. But like, I feel like if I know too much, it'll take away from the hype. But at the same time, I do like that 6 months of anticipation. So it's tricky. I want to know everything about Lanterns, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I just know it's in production. That's enough for me. So we will see. I am very, very excited. I'd love to know in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you guys for Lanterns? 10 being the most excited, 1 being the least. We haven't had a Green Lantern live action adaptation go the way we wanted to yet. There are redeemable things even in the Ryan Reynolds one, but I think this one is going to be such a big surprise for so many people. A true HBO show with so much talent. So excited. Okay, chat. We got 10, 10, 9.5, 10, 8, 8, 8, 9.5, 8, 10, 9, 3009. Amazing. Okay. I haven't won because it's a hard R TV show. Don't understand that personally, but I like R-rated things, so I disagree. Jack's Packet 8, 10. Yeah, so all of that, I'm with these folks. I'm at like a 9 or a 10. I'm very, very excited. We will see how it is once we get a little closer. I'm excited for the first imagery. They're just starting, but man, I'm excited when everyone gets in the kitchen and it's happening now. Last bit of news before we get to the comics themselves. I do want to talk about Colman Domingo's quotes and the potential of Norman Osborn goodness, but I got super chats here. Digital Wizard 69. What is your favorite comic book movie that's typically bad? Personally, I love Batman and Robin for the Camp. That is a fun favorite comic book movie that is typically seen as bad. I love Eternals. Like, I think Eternals is top 3rd Marvel. I think Marvel's made like 40 properties, counting the TV shows. Like TV and film, I put as one thing because it's all shared universe. Marvel's Eternals is in like my top 20 of the 45 or whatever. Like it's top 3rd. I know that would be 60. I think we might be 60. Either way, it's in my top 3rd. I love Eternals very much. People think it's bad. I disagree with them. I've done many videos about how much I love Eternals and why I love Eternals, so I don't want to get into it too long, but Eternals, I think, is the most mature and eloquent and like ponderous and introspective and just atmospheric of that phase. And I think it rivals a lot of other things that people do beloved. Like there's so many beloved properties. I think it's as good as, I think Eternals is really special. All right. And then like cheesy wise, man, I like Venom a lot, unironically. I like Blade Trinity a lot, unironically. I don't know if those count. Who is my personal top 5 Superman villains? Andrew Carnes. Thank you for the super chat. Andrew Carnes. Let's see. Top 5. Lex Luthor. Brainiac. Mongol. No. Lex Luthor, Brainiac. Bizarro when he's written well. Bizarro's up there when he's done right. I really love Bizarro. Mongol. And fuck, I have one left. I consider Lobo a Superman villain. I don't know if that counts, but if we consider him a Superman villain, he'd definitely be in the top 5. I don't know if people do. So I don't know if that one counts as my 5th, but I would consider him my number 5 Superman villain. So I'm going to go with those. I'm going to go Lex Luthor because like he's so captivating and interesting. Brainiac because I really want to see him done well, and he's always such an interesting antithesis to the humanity of Superman. I'm going to definitely live and die on the hill that Bizarro when he's written well is such a great commentary. I'm going to go Mongol because it always surprises me when I'm like reading a Mongol story. I'm like, that is a captivating take for a character that could be very thin. And Lobo is just like the main man. So yeah, those are my 5. All right. Cyborg Superman, someone said in the chat. General Zod, Lex Brainiac, can't think my other 2. It says Hayden. Eradicator says Seattle KO. Bizarro and Superman and Lois. I didn't watch Superman and Lois. I have not had time. TV is very hard for me to make time for. Mr. Mixopolitlic. That'd be 6. That'd be number 6 for sure. I love Mixopolitlic. Metallo is great when they do him right. Yeah, I mean, he's got so many good villains. Yeah. I mean, Metallo, especially if you guys haven't read the My Adventures of Superman book, the most recent arc had Metallo in a great way. When they do him right, he is a great villain. There's so many things they could do with this new Superman villain-wise, and I'm very excited to find out alongside you lovelies. All right, last bit of news. Lex Zod, Superman Prime, Doomsday Brainiac from Shelf Presence. Mel New York City Reviews says, Koi, great update. Be well. Peace. Much love. Mel New York City Reviews. All right, and I appreciate Super Chat very dearly. Last bit of news, Colman Domingo went on my buddy Josh Horowitz's show, and Josh asked him about the Marvel rumors, and he said basically, hey, I saw all the stuff about the rumors of me being Kang as well, but I want to do my own thing and bring something new, and I love how much he loves Norman Osborn, and the bit of news isn't that. It is that he said he would love to come back and be the MCU's Norman Osborn, and I think that is the move. Not only would it distinguish a very different take than Willem Dafoe, but it would kind of make that. I'm loving Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I love that it kind of runs parallel to the MCU. It's like this what if ran long form and really dove into stuff, but it allows for these characters that are so part of our pop culture, like Doc Ock with Alfred Molina, like Green Goblin's Willem Dafoe, to get a new take that feels fresh but also has some familiarity. So I think Colman Domingo would be the perfect way to do Norman Osborn. I think that it makes the way his waves are drawn actually makes sense. I think that he is a captivating take, especially on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, because you actually believe why is Peter Parker so trusting? And then there's this undercurrent of I can't trust him, but I do trust him. I think Colman Domingo nails that. I think he's such a good actor that it actually add new things to Norman Osborn. Norman's my favorite long-running Spider-Man villain. I actually like him more than Doc Ock. A lot of people are like, Doc Ock's the big nemesis. For me, it's Norman Osborn because it's about Peter and Spider-Man. And so is Doc Ock. But the way that Norman gets in Spider-Man's head and the way that he manipulates him and the way that Harry is such a part of it and that paternal element and all of it. I love Norman Osborn. So I'd love someone as talented as Colman Domingo, and he said he'd be interested in having that conversation. So that gives me hope. Maybe. And that is it for the news today, you lovelies. We are going to talk about the comics themselves. We're going to review my favorite comics from the week of the 5th. We're going to preview the comics coming out tomorrow, February 12th. But first, Joshua Hugo says, 2 more questions. Have I read the Batman 89 or Superman 78 comics? Also, curious on whether you have a P.O. box for fan mail. I do have a P.O. box. I need to add that to all of my stuff. My manager has a P.O. box. So if you go to any of my social media, there's a contact at Armada Partners, or there's like a Koi at Armada Partners. Armada Partners is my manager. If you email them, they will send you my P.O. box. But yeah, if you look at any of my social media, that email is how you get to my P.O. box. And have I read 89 and Superman 78? I absolutely have. I'm a big fan. I actually was reading Superman 78 when I watched Superman 78 for the first time, and then I reread the 3 volumes I think they're on, because I read them weekly, but it was cool to go back and reread. I think the first few issues had been out when I saw the movie. It's so good. It's so interesting. I really love the way they continued that story. I really love that they captured the tone so well of Dick Donner's films. I really dig them. Batman 89 is great because I know so much of the like lore and legacy, like the way the, Wayans was going to be Robin, the way they were going with Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. Like, it's really cool to see those stories get actualized. I highly recommend them to people that are fans of Batman 89, the movie, or Superman 78, the movie. Check out the comics because it's sequels to those stories, and they are rad. All right, those are our news for the day. Going to be giving y'all from last week, February 5th. First up, order, not by favorite order, but these are my favorites from last week. First up, Absolute Superman number 4. We are reaching this is the penultimate. We have one more issue left before the big 5-issue arc finale. Every arc is 5 issues. The comics are ongoings, but they're in like 5-issue arcs. So this is a big old issue leaning into the Lois and Superman dynamic. Not Lois and Clark, but Lois and Superman. Very military heavy. Lots of stuff with the Peacemakers. Really cool world they're building in this Absolute universe. Next up, we've got Avengers 23. Jed MacKay has been writing the hell out of Avengers, and he wrote the hell out of Black Cat. One of my favorite Black Cat writers ever. Gave her a long form series that was fantastic. Now he's putting those worlds together with Black Cat stealing from the Avengers, and it's just as good as you might think. There's 2 Black Cat books this week. We've also got Batman number 157. Speaking of penultimate issues, this is the second to last Chip Zdarsky run. He's been on this book for like 2.5 years. This concludes one big old arc, and there's one mega-sized issue coming out next month to conclude Chip's run on the book. This concludes the arc we've been in the last 6 months. Action-packed, total badass stuff. A plain, you'll see. And it has a lot of really moral, interesting questions raised and answered by Bruce Wayne. Then we have Birds of Prey number 18. You guys know I love this book. This is a particularly dope issue. Really love the team dynamic. The team splits into 2 and things go in interesting ways. Really love how they use their powers like, a video game team or X-Men, or like they're really a well dynamic stacked team, and they address all that. Poison Ivy number 3, one of my favorite books on the shelves is Poison Ivy. This is a big old celebratory anniversary issue from G. Willow Wilson. It's also a really fun format. This book turns upside down halfway through for very conscious reasons. Love the story, love the art, love the tone, love that Poison Ivy's getting her time in the sun to grow. We've got Sacrificers number 14. Rick Remender, one of my favorite writers working, doing his commentary on theology, doing his commentary on religion, which are similar synonyms. Those are the same word, but in different tones. But he's doing his commentary on religion, and a very interesting look at zealots and following things blindly. And I love this book. And then we've got Two-Face number 3. Now, this is the cover you shouldn't buy. There's another cover that's in hardstock that has me on the back. That's not why this book made it, but it did help. Two-Face number 3 is Harvey Dent's story has always been so captivating, but rarely is it given enough time to really shine. This Harvey Dent Two-Face miniseries is letting him be his own character and doing some really great stuff. Baby doll with the ventriloquist doll. Fascinating issue right here. Then we've got Ultimates number 9. We are introduced to our new 2020s, Ultimate Luke Cage. 2000 was the last Ultimate Universe. Now in 2020, the world has changed. This is modernizing Luke Cage to the current 2025 world. I think very, very well. A very iconic cover dealing with what's going on inside. Really beautiful story of a broken system and a broken man that is coming back stronger than ever. It's a really dynamic run that Ultimates is taking, and a lot of great commentary. And our final issue of the week for the 5th is Wolverine number 6. A lot of interesting stuff going on with Adamantium. I don't love all of it. I don't always love when they add too much mythology to things, but this issue in particular is adding some really interesting dynamics. It's brutal. I love when Lord Kenny comes to play. Really, really digging the family dynamic of this Wolverine run, and this issue was rad. All right, those are my favorite comics from last week. Absolute, Superman, The Avengers, Batman, Birds of Prey, Poison Ivy, The Sacrificers, Two-Face, The Ultimates, and Wolverine. Very main big 2 last week. Not a lot of indies. I think it's because the month is 4 weeks, so I think there's going to be a huge indie week at some point here. All right, my comics I am most excited for, the comics that are dropping this week, the 12th of February. I am very excited in alphabetical order to be checking out Absolute Batman number 5, the big conclusion of this first arc. It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be crazy. I'm very excited. Then we've got Action Comics 1083, All New Venom number 3, Amazing Spider-Man 67, Aquaman number 2, Batman and Robin number 18, Batman Dark Patterns number 3, Black Lightning number 4, Blade Red Band number 4, Cable number 2, DC vs. Vampires World War V Darkness and Light number 1, Deadpool number 11, Deadpool Wolverine number 2, Deadpool Team Up number 5, 3 Deadpool books this week, Eddie Brock Carnage number 1, Feral number 10, Geiger number 11, Green Lantern Corps number 1, Immortal Thor number 20, Magic number 2, Marvel Mutts, a dog book number 1, Moon Knight number 5, New Champions number 2, One World Under Doom number 1, Psylocke number 4, Sam Wilson Captain America number 2, Spider-Boy number 16, Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider number 10, Uncanny Valley number 7, and X-Men number 11 are the books I'm most excited to read this week, February 12th. Quite a bit of them, and I'm personally going to be reading some Green Lantern and Superman to celebrate the DCU's continued growth. Let me check out these super chats before we wrap out of here. In the future, I am probably going to make this show a bit closer to an hour, and we're going to try to get it on Spotify, all the podcast places. So if there's anything you guys want that I'm not covering, like a format of something, or anything in particular, I do want to keep my reviews off this page. I want my reviews to be separate. But if you have any other things you want in the comic book space on this show, leave it in a comment below. I'd love to read what you guys would love to add. Kong of Beast. What's your thoughts on the DC animated universe versus the DC animated Tomorrowverse? And do you love the Absolute Verse comics as much as I do? Because I am loving it. I love the DC AU. I like a lot of the Tomorrowverse, but I prefer, I think, the DC AU before the Tomorrowverse. I haven't watched all of it. I've watched like 30 of them, but there's so many between those two universes. And I slightly prefer the Tomorrowverse. I'm really excited because of Creature Commandos to see where things go next. But I definitely love the Absolute Verse. I think it is one of the best reinventions we've had in a long time. The Ultimate Comics in the 2000s were the gateway for me to get a lot of new people into comics, and they got me back into huge collecting. I feel like this Absolute run is that for DC in a big way. It's knocking it out of the park. It's nailing it, knocking it out of the park, knocking it out of the park. Just really impressed. I love the creative teams. I love the creative swings. I love that it is approachable. I love that it's different. Yeah, taking the Absolute stuff. All right. Yeah, I cannot wait for Geiger. People screaming about how good Absolute is makes me happy. That is Deathstrike on the cover. Do I wish Spider-Man actual Kingpin villain instead of Daredevil's? I mean, I personally like him as Daredevil's villain because canonically he's such a good villain to Daredevil and has been for so long. I would like to also see him in Spider-Man, but I don't mind him in Daredevil at all because I consider him a Daredevil and Spider-Man villain. I haven't had time to watch even Lois and Superman. I don't think I will have time for Young Justice in the next 5 to 6 years. Maybe when I have kids and I have time to when I need to sit and watch stuff with my kids, Young Justice is I'd love to watch, but that's probably 8 or 9 years away. Probably. Not to start having kids, but for them to be old enough to watch it with me. So we got some time. Hulk, smash the like and subscribe. Rick Costa, sending love from Boston. Thank you very much. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. Much appreciated. And as always, you lovelies, I love when I get into the comic books and the view count does not drop dramatically. We only lost 20 people, and I was getting into the nitty-gritty of comic books. We've had a lot of you in here on the stream today. I plan to do this as close to weekly as I can. I would like to get it as a specific time. That might not happen until I move and I can set up a studio, but that is the goal. I'm not expecting. I'm saying the kids would be 5 until I showed them the movie. And I'm probably not gonna have a kid for 2 or 3 years. So I got time is what I'm saying. I don't want to start rumors. Thank you though, Alan. I'm excited to have kids, just not yet. Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to get married first. I want to travel first and then have a bunch of kids. Koi merch, what's up with the t-shirts? I need to get that done. I actually have a meeting with let's do a little Q&A here at the end. Let's do a Q&A. I hired a social media person, my friend Jasmine, and we're trying to do daily social media as opposed to my 2-3 times a week. I'm trying to be more specific and focus. And one of our goals in doing that is to do merch. I've got a bunch of shirt ideas. I'm going to be getting a graphic designer and we're going to be making those dreams a reality. I'm hoping to do that right after my trip in March. It is my lady's 30th birthday in March, so we're going on a little trip. It's also my manager's wedding in March, so that trip is tied to that trip. So March is going to be a bit of a mess scheduling wise. So then once I'm back in April, we're attacking shirts. We're attacking channel growth. We're attacking social media growth. I'm going to be covering the hell out of everything until then. Like, I'm covering Cap and Daredevil and everything. But I'm not adding new stuff outside of my control until April. Once I'm back, then I'm going to attack shirts. What can we say? Comics are good. I agree. I do need to put out my Green Arrow edition. No, I don't miss acting as much as I thought I would. I would come back for certain directors to be on set with them, but attaching myself to something for 10 years feels crazy. Let's see. Do you think you'll do merch recommendations after I get the first couple batches out? Yes. I will do, like, what do you guys recommend I do as a second wave? But the first wave, I want to have like a batch of shirts that I've already got in mind. But I'll do merch recs as we grow for sure. Any more music vids on the way? Shepherd 52, those did very badly. Unfortunately, I'm kind of known for movies and TV and comics, so the algorithm was like, not music too. Next week is the 29th anniversary of one of my favorite albums of all time. I'll tell you guys which one in just a moment. I have actually not listened to this on vinyl yet because I'm saving it for that day. On the 29th anniversary of this album, I'm going to be listening to it in honor. This is my second favorite Tupac album, maybe my first. I need to listen to it again. It's either first or second, and it is one of my favorite albums of all time, and it turns 29 next week. I was going to do a video on that, but the game album just didn't do that great, and then my top music of the year didn't do that great. I'll do a top of the year again probably this year, but yeah, I feel like it's tricky because I like hip hop a lot, and like people get very mad, at the white boy covering rap music. So it's tricky. But I maybe down the line, once the channel gets bigger, then I'll just say screw it, because I can kind of throw away more videos once I hit like 100K. But for now, know that I'm still listening, still loving. Just I need to focus on the stuff that's going to grow the channel for now. What kind of power scale do you think Sentry Void will have in the MCU? I think pretty big. I think that's going to be the beautiful. They have to work together because they're also underpowered compared to him. I think it's going to be really fun. All right, let's see. Do you think Sentry will be nerfed in Thunderbolts? I hope not. I think they've learned a lot of lessons. Do I have any updates about my role in the next Kevin Smith movie? I'm seeing Kevin on February 22nd. In 11 days, I'm seeing Kevin. I'm going to talk to him about it. But that said, if you guys also want to see me and Kevin, LA wildfires hurt a lot of us. I was lucky enough to evacuate and come home to my home, but a lot of people didn't. And on February 2nd, we are doing a convention to raise money for the wildfires. Multicon is going to be in LA, is going to be literally behind. There's a Target on Hollywood and Western, and behind that is this beautiful place that I actually film my podcast in sometimes. It's stunning. It's a forest, and we're going to be turning that into a convention center. It's this awesome forest, these pods, and we're going to be doing a full-on convention. Me, Kevin Smith, Robert Kirkman, Robert Liefeld, David Desmalchin, a huge list of names coming, and it's like $35. You can meet these legends for $35. I'm going to be hosting a panel, a comic book panel with both Robs, with David, hopefully with Kevin, depending on the schedule. But we're all going to be there, and it's $35. So if you're in LA, or you can get it streamed to you, check out Multicon on Instagram. Check out multicon.com. Like, check out Multicon, and you just Google Multicon. You can get tickets for $35 or get like a streaming thing. But I'll be there. So I really want to meet you guys, and also want to raise money for the wildfires as best I can. What were my thoughts on the Super Bowl performance? I loved it. I thought the storytelling was genius. I thought there were so many layers that I could unpack that. Like, all these comic book Easter egg videos, I would much rather be doing that with that performance and with albums. I loved the imagery. I loved what it had to say. I loved the song choices being so defiant. I love that he focused on Damn and GNX, because his first Super Bowl performance focused on, his older stuff, To Pimp a Butterfly and Mr. Morale. I liked that it was actually saying something. I liked that if you don't like rap, it wasn't for you, because it wasn't hooks. It wasn't singing. SZA sang, but he was rapping, and I love rap so much, and I think rap and lyricism and language and the use of the word and poetry needs a bigger place in our society. I think intelligence should be rewarded instead of punished. I think education should be the bar at which we set rewarding people. I think we need to focus on nuance and storytelling, not fluff. And I think Kendrick is a storyteller and a genius and a lyricist. He's got a Nobel Prize for a reason. I got that out of the performance. I like that he's so bold as to open a performance at the Super Bowl, the biggest platform, with a song that's not even released yet. I love that. I love that the performance itself was so hopeful while being aggressive, because that's how I feel as a person. I like that the imagery was let's fix shit. Yeah, I got a lot out of it. B-Town, do you think we see the F4 interact with Doctor Strange in the upcoming movie? How long do you think we spend in their OG universe? I think we see Doom. I think they spend 2 acts. I think they spend a while in their universe before they come to ours, and I hope they establish an actual relationship between Reed and Doom. So I think we see him. I think it won't be quite enough as much what I want, but man, oh man, I want that very, very much. We will see. I am very hopeful that I'm concerned for no reason about the Doom Reed relationship, but I do think they'll spend about 2 acts out of the 3, and I think we'll see Doom in F4. As far as Doctor Strange, I don't know, because that would be him in our universe. Like, that'd be the F4 in our universe. So I don't know if we'd need Doctor Strange there. So I personally don't think Doctor Strange is going to be a huge factor. I think you meant Doctor Doom, so I answered that first. Strange, probably not. Doom, probably yes. Nas is pretty big where I'm around. Like, my people, like my friends and stuff are big on Nas, but I don't know how big he is societally. Like, I think of Nas as like huge, but I think he could always be bigger. I think Nas is incredible. I rewatched Super Bowl performance at least 3 times now. It was amazing. I agree, Richard Fearing. I watched it live. I watched it with the sound mixed like digitally, and I watched it again for like little details. Yeah. Let's see. They're doing between lyrical rap and regular rap. I think of lyricists that focus on it as a lost art. I think there's a lot of mumble rap. I think there's a lot of singing. I think there's a lot of just AB rhyme schemes that are just braggadocio. I think lyricism is like, that's why I love Doechii. That's why I love Kendrick. That's why I love Tupac. I like that. But there is rap that is just like using the beat to give you your sound and then just monosyllabically going through the motions. But it's getting better. Like, they're going to hide most of the third act from the marketing. I think Dr. Doom probably has a medium-sized role in the third act. They got to set up Doom somehow. Yeah, we will see. It's just people in the know about Nas. Interesting. I've always thought Nas was kind of made it out there. Like, I thought. Anyway, yeah, that's exciting. Supergirl, love the book. Do you think the thing with crypto will happen? I don't know. That is an interesting question, because we do get crypto in Superman this year. Time will tell. All right, you lovelies, that is going to do it. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We had Richard Fearing, Seattle KO, Cable 715, Stamina MC, James Diesel loves Run the Jewels. I'm a big fan of Run the Jewels as well. Monarch, Seattle KO again, Cable, Samil B Town. A lot of familiar names in here, a lot of new faces. I love seeing both. What up, The Real JB, Mason Corey, Ryan Anderson. You guys are great today. We had a consistent 150 in here. We didn't drop that much when we went to Purely Comics. That means this is working. I want to thank everyone that sent in a super chat, everyone that sent in a Streamlab. These comic videos do not do great, and that really helps because I'm spending like 30 hours reading, plus the time prepping the stories, plus the time actually doing the show. So any little bit really does help towards the house. But either way, I love just sharing comic love with you guys. And so thank you to everyone in the chat at all. Everyone that sent in a question, everyone that is being so positive in this conversation. I appreciate it very, very much. And most of all, if you're watching this later, we got 116 likes right now. Keep liking it. Let's get that to 300. Let's keep growing it. I appreciate it so very much because, like I said, comic book videos don't do as well, and you guys are how this can grow. So share this video, like this video. If you're new to this page, subscribe to this channel. Let's get to 50K. Cap 4 videos coming this week. Today is Tuesday. Tonight, 1:30 a.m. / tomorrow, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man episodes 6, 7, and 8. Later on, tomorrow, The Gorge Review. Thursday morning, Cap non-spoiler. Friday, either Paddington or Cap spoiler. Saturday, either Cap 4 spoiler or Paddington. You get a video every single day. Some days 2 this week. So hit that subscription bell. Let's grow this beast. Like this video, comment, etc. Nothing but love. Any info on the DCU Max show? Tetronin 9101. I'm not sure what you mean. I have a show on Max called DC Studio Showcase. It airs every other Friday. We have a new episode this Friday, episode 6. It airs on Max YouTube as well. I'm not sure if that is which thing you're asking about. I talked about Lanterns being about or maybe in production. I talked about my excitement for it. I'm not sure which other DCU thing that might be, but I hope to answer your question. DC Studio Showcase, my show every other Friday on HBO Max, as well as Max's YouTube. Congrats on almost 800 subs. Hayden, we're approaching 43K here, and I'm very, very proud considering I've been doing this on my own. Literally, this is my laptop and natural sunlight and a microphone. We're doing it, you lovelies. All right, congrats to Hayden, and we are out of here. Thank you, Cable. I appreciate that very much. Tetronin, I tried to stall, hoping I answered your question. I maybe did, but that is the show. I'm on the back of some comics. If you guys see my face on the back of a DC comic, I know I'm on Two-Face 3. I know I'm on a Batman Elseworld. I know I'm on the inside of Green Lantern 19, as well as the inside of Lex Luthor, a Superman story. There's at least 2 more that I'm on the back of this week. If you see one of those, take a photo, tag me in it. I'll share it. If your face is in it, I'll know what you look like. We'll share that too. Any social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Take a video. Take a picture. I want to share these. You guys are the reason it happened, so I want to share in this love with you lovelies. Which is better for you, YouTube or Max? I think YouTube, because you can like see the numbers like optically. I think that's better. Either way, tell them I sent you. Tell them Coy said watch this show, and that would help because I want to do 100 of those. I can start a Coy Comics collection. Hell yeah! Let's get them to 1,000 by the end of the week. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get Hayden to 1,000. Let's get me to 50,000. Let's all rise together. Rising tide, you lovelies. All right, Nick Mamenga, I am apologizing because you're excited to have joined the stream, but I have to leave. We're out of here. I wanted to do an hour. We did 57 minutes. I was very proud of that, but now I want to make sure it is a goated week, guys. It's a Marvel movie week. We get the finale of Spider-Man next week. We get the kickoff of Cap 4 this week. We get Cap 4, a movie in theaters this week. All of that leading up to Daredevil in like 3 weeks. This is insane. Cap 4 this week. Spider-Man finale next week. Daredevil kicking off in 3 weeks. And now Spidey's here. Just crawled into my lap. He says hi. All right. Yes. Okay. I stayed as long as I could for Nick Maminga joining in. Everybody say hi to Spidey Cat. He does not like being on camera. His ears are like, what are we doing? I love you, son. All right. This is going to end the stream with a little weird moment. Much love to you guys. Star of the show. Tucked in. Oh, Tetronin. Sorry for the bad question. Any underrated movie suggestions? Looking for new movies to watch. Okay, beautiful. I was just making sure I didn't disappoint you, Tetronin. I just didn't want to leave you hanging, bro. Tetronin, any underrated movie suggestions? My favorite 2 comedies of all time, a lot of people haven't seen. In Bruges is my favorite comedy, and a close second is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I don't think those are properly rated. I would say those 2. Banshees of Inisherin got a lot of love for Mark McDonagh, but I feel like he should have gotten more, and more people should see In Bruges. So check those out. I would say Bronson, starring Tom Hardy. I would say Rango is one of the most slept on animated films of all time. I would say The Place Beyond the Pines. I would say Ondine. I would say that's like a few. Hopefully that helped. Yeah, Spidey enjoys those as well. Thoughts on Linkin Park's new album? I liked it. Didn't love it. I liked it. I don't listen to a lot of Linkin Park as much as I used to. I have Hybrid Theory on vinyl. I occasionally listen to Meteora, but I liked it. I'm really happy for Shinoda and the rest of the gang, and I'm happy they're touring again. Shinoda seems so happy. So that makes me, stoked. Rango is why you're the best, Koi. Thank you, Monarch. Looper is also great. Would you ever consider opening your own comic book shop one day? I want to open a movie theater one day that sells comics. All right. That is going to do it, you lovelies. I'm actually leaving. Civil War is one of my favorite movies last year. All right. We're boogieing. Spidey's vibing. Spidey said bye. Okay. All right. Bye, lovelies. I will see you next week for another live. I will see you through all those videos this week. I appreciate y'all very much. Thank you to everyone that sent in a chat, everyone that sent in a super chat. Spidey and I appreciate you. We'll see you soon.